to another episode of Weekly Dose of Dano TV. I'm your television show host, Dano, and I'm super excited to bring you guys the life-changing content, the great content, positive content, whatever you want to call it. Just make it something positive, whatever you want to call it. I'm just so excited to just bring this episode to you guys, as well as the former ones. If you haven't seen any of the episodes before, then what are you doing, man? I mean, and if you haven't, welcome to the Positivity Posse. You guys already know. Y'all already know what we got in store for today. We got Vaune Thompson, aka Real Island Biz, aka Vision. You already know, man. We're gonna be talking about relationships today, and we wanted to pick this topic because we feel like, especially during the whole pandemic and everything, relationships are starting to get strained. They're starting to get sour. A lot of people are negative. I got to experience that yesterday, and I got a whole story for you guys lined up too about the on the street segments that I always bring to you guys. And it was just a really weird day yesterday. So if you're watching right now, wherever you're watching from, if you're watching from Apple TV, Amazon Fire, Facebook, YouTube, from wherever, I just asked for one thing. I asked for two things for you guys. One, type in your comments, your questions, your ideas, whatever you have to say, because we always show the comments here on Weekly Dose of Dano because we want to hear about your experience and your thoughts as well. And then number two, if you're rocking with this content right now, I need you to drop a hashtag Positivity Posse, and you guys are already beating me to it before I could even, display it on the screen. That's why I have the best Positivity Posse in the world, man. I don't care. I'll put my Positivity Posse up against anybody in this world. I don't care if it's Beyonce. I don't care if it's Jay-Z. They don't got nothing on us. They don't got nothing on us. So thank you guys always for your support as well. Let's go. It's right. Let's go. Love and support. Thank you guys so much. Hashtag Positivity Posse. Yes, thank you about the shirt. I don't know why, but it looks like it's a little glitchy, but I think it's the sparkle. So yeah. These shirts are available for purchase. We do have a limited supply as well, just to let you know. Right here's the hashtag Positivity Posse. Then we got the gold coin. And also on the back, I'm not sure if you guys are going to be able to see it, but I'm going to do it anyway. You got the gold coin right there, and it says, have you had your weekly dose on there? I got to upload some pictures because I already got some pictures taken. I should have just uploaded it to here before we started. But that will be for next episode. Just to give you guys another heads up, I will not be here. We will not be doing a live episode. It's going to be a rerun, only because we are going to be at the Power of We Symposium. Oh man, you guys have no idea. If you haven't heard of it, let me tell you a little bit about it. We're going to be taking north of 300 Chicago students out of school. Wait, are we still good? Vaune, if you can hear me, give me a thumbs up. All right, we can still hear me. I don't know. That's weird. That hasn't happened in a while, but that's because all of this great energy is being poured into the technology, and it can't even handle it. It can't handle the Positivity Posse. It can't handle Vaune being here today, but we're still going to continue through it. So let's go. The Power of We Symposium is going to be an amazing event. So we're taking north of like somewhere around 300 students out of school, and we're flying world-renowned speakers to come out and speak to these children, just so they can understand that there is a world outside of Chicago, their environments. There are positive people and opportunities that are available to them. And man, we have a whole lineup of people. We have so many workshops. We have food going to be given to the kids. It's going to be at the Stan Mansion, April 28th in Chicago, man. And that is next week. Yeah, it's exactly 1 week for today. So yeah, hashtag Positivity Posse. That's what I'm talking about. So if you guys are interested in the event or purchasing tickets live or in person or through the live stream, I'm actually going to share the website with you guys. So here we go. Let's see, Chrome tab. There we go. Right here. Boom. So here's what the website looks like. This is the guy hosting it, running it, doing everything for it, Mr. Lauren Michaels Harris. And if you guys have been on the Weekly Dose of Dano show before, you guys know exactly who he is. Chicago 28, the Stan Mansion, Power of We, keeping our kids safe. This event is going to be insane. So you guys do not want to miss this event. We have so many speakers that are going to be going there. And like I said, you do not want to miss this out. And I will be the co-main stage MC along with Tracy Randolph. just so, just so we can keep it fresh, we can keep it positive, and we can keep it moving. So I just wanted to give you a heads up on that for you guys. Now we got 2 more things that we have to do before Vaughn comes on to the show. We got to do the affirmation for today, okay? And like I said, I always pick to a random page, and it usually always speaks to somebody that, thank you, Sherry McQueen, for dropping that. And there's the link for you as well, if you didn't see the URL. So you can grab your tickets right there for you. So we always got to do the positive affirmations, and this always speaks to somebody every time, man. I have people that blow up my phone after the show to say, wow, that affirmation or something that you may have said on the show always helps, helps somebody in need. So it's always in perfect alignment. And I'm just so happy and so grateful to be able to bring this content for you guys as well. I'm shaking my head because it's just like, I'm just overloaded with positive energy right now. Thank you guys. All right, here it is. Number 142. Yeah, I'm going to pick 142 for today. Oh, why is that like that? All right, here it is. Number 142. I make it a point to connect with myself and others to support my joy and contentment. Connection with myself and the right people brings so much richness into my life. I'm thankful for all of my valuable connections and will keep nurturing them with love. Vaughn, you see what I'm talking about? Today is going to be all about relationships, and that speaks directly to relationships as well. I'm going to tell you one more quick story. And my man David Vardaman is going to be watching next week. He bought his virtual ticket, so if David can buy it, so should you, because he knows that this event is about to be fire. Let's get it. So what we were talking about was the relationships, right? Man, I'm gonna tell you one quick story, and then we'll do the clip. We'll do the on the street segments that you guys know and that you guys love. So after yesterday was really crazy. And I don't really like to use that word lightly, but it was crazy. The energy that people were experiencing in the city, I don't know if you guys felt it. People were just like dragging. They were just so angry, so negative. And there's a point to this. So we get done. It's me and Oracle. Thank you, Oracle, for filming everything that we always do. So we get done and we're walking back to the car because it's about maybe 7 streets away, right? So when we're walking back to the car, there's this lady, homeless lady, that's sitting in the street. And she's blocking traffic. And there's maybe about 10 cars that are just all piled up behind her, and they don't know what's going on because they just stopped in the middle of the road. So the lady's just standing there, and it was kind of an eye-opening event that happened to me because I'm going to be honest, like I just thought, it was in the city and I had somewhere that I needed to be, and I was just going to keep walking. But Oracle actually decided to stop and talk to the old lady. So, to try to get her up to get her out of the street so everybody can go about their day. So one of the guys gets very angry. He's about the 3rd car from behind, and he walks up to the front, and the lady has a bag. And the guy's like, yo, get the F out of the street. I'm trying to get to work, XYZ. And the homeless lady, she said something that it really struck me in the heart. And I was like, wow, I need to be, I am appreciative and grateful of everything that I have, but, maybe I need to do it a little bit more. She looks at the guy and she goes, you know what? You can say that in your car and you can go anywhere that you want, but you don't know what it feels like to not have a home because you know where you're going to go for tonight. And I don't know where I'm going to get my next meal. So I was like, oh, wow. It really put it into perspective for me how, that we need to take care of ourselves. And as far as our relationships, we need to have that positive self-talk too. And, Vaughn is going to come on today to help us really understand and share his experiences of how he cut off negative energy and how he's focusing on himself. But, we're going to get to that in one more second. So as you guys already know, I'm going to play the clip for you guys. I need you to answer this as well. Vaughn, I need you to answer this as well. This is going to be your first question when you come on for today. So here is the On the Street segment for you guys. I hope you enjoy it, and please let me know the answer to your question as well. Let's get it. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Dano, television show host of Weekly Dose of Dano TV, and you already know what we're doing for today. We're going around the streets of Philly asking everybody the questions that you need the answers to. Let's get it. What's your name, sir?
My name's Jesse.
We're going around the streets of Philly asking people one question. What's the best thing that has happened to you this year so far?
I'd say it's kind of like a mix of things that all happened at the same time. I was working a different job last year, and I was kind of in a relationship that, you know, like, it just wasn't working out. Like, we'd been together a long time, and like, no hard feelings, but it just kind of like, you know, wasn't working out. And towards the last couple months of the year, I just kind of, you know, I decided like the things that were going on in my life weren't really working. So I got a new job, and I just started kind of like focusing more on myself a little bit, you know, and just kind of getting out and just kind of focusing on myself, I guess, you know, so discovering new things, looking for new experiences and all that. So I think the best thing that's happened to me, you know, recently is just kind of like having that awakening of like putting myself first and everything. So even though it's not a single event, kind of just like a time in my life that I'm definitely very thankful for. And I'm a lot happier where I'm at now than I was in the past. So that's probably what I'd say.
Let's say there's somebody watching this right now. They're in that same position that you were last year, that things aren't really going their way, or they're not really happy. Do you have any pieces of advice for them watching?
Yeah, I guess, you know, I always say if something's not in your heart, it's not in your heart. There's your heart's never gonna lie to you. So if it's trying to tell you something, just listen to it.
Jimmy, what's the best thing that has happened to you so far this year?
Finding an inner strength in myself. Yeah, I'm going through a homeless thing right now, so it's my last day. Yeah, so tomorrow I'm finding my own place. You know what I mean? So, you know, this shit happens. So.
If there's somebody watching this right now that may be going through, you know, they're trying to find their self and try to find their inner strength, what is some advice that you can give them?
Pray. Stay positive.
What's your name is?
Yasmin.
What's the best thing that's happened to you so far this year?
Well, 2021 was a super hard year for me. I lost some friends, but I think the best thing that's happened to me in 2022 was definitely making new friends that actually care about me, and like I care about them, and I didn't realize that this level of friendship could exist.
What's your name is?
I'm Lauren.
What's the best thing that has happened so far to you this year?
So this past December, I actually got to graduate college early, so I kind of had this whole semester to do whatever I wanted, and that's given me a lot more chances to, you know, make more like meaningful memories with friends, and I also got to travel a lot and see a lot more of the world, so that's been able to give me a new perspective on just a lot of things and meet new people that I may never see again, but still had an impact on my life. It's been so good. I have like a little like gratitude jar where I write things down.
You got to tell us about that gratitude jar. What is it, and what do you do for it every day?
Yeah, so I'm not much of like a journaler, so I kind of wanted to find like another way to practice gratitude. So basically I have this like mason jar, and at the beginning of every year on like January 1st, I kind of just write down like anything that happened to me that I'm grateful for, like little growths that I notice in myself that I may like forget down the line, and then I leave it closed, and I'm going to open it again like next New Year's and read through everything and just see what I was grateful for in the past year.
All right, so I need you guys to answer the question as well. What is the best thing that has happened to you this year so far? Because we already know we're not at the end. And yeah, there were so many things. You know, I like what he said. Put yourself first too. You know, go with what your heart tells you. I love that too. So yeah, it was a journey yesterday to try to get those answers. But now, finally, we have to bring Vaune onto the show. My guy. If you guys didn't already know, Vaune is a big supporter of the show. He's always commenting, always sharing, you know, some of the things that we talk about on the show. And Vaune, let me tell you, thank you so much, first and foremost, for your time. I really do appreciate it. But now you already know what time it is. Vaune, man, what are you doing back there? It's time to get on the show. Vaune, my man, how's it going?
What's going on, fella? What's going on, fella? How you doing?
Absolutely amazing, man. First and foremost, thank you so much for being here today on the Weekly Dose of Dano platform to share your ideas, you know, your experiences, and to help everybody going forward.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming, man. I'm so happy and gracious to be here, man. I appreciate everything you do, and I can't wait.
No problem, man. Well, it's time to get it. So, Vaune, let's start off with your first question, and you're not going to get any more freebies. I know I said that'll be the first question that you get when you get on the show, but no more freebies. So, what has been the best thing that has happened to you this year so far?
Me getting a full understanding of what, like, myself is. number one, and the things that I like to do, and me being able to look at things instead of just taking it at face value, being able to dissect it, and also understand fully by dissecting it, to where as though I get a better understanding of what's going on with me and everybody else around me,
Mm-hmm.
and the whys and the hows, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. Now, what has been the biggest piece of yourself that you've discovered?
That building friendships with people is probably one of the best things you could do. Well, positive friendships, I should say, or relationships with people is the best thing that you could do, because the more positivity you bring into your life, the better everything is.
Definitely, man. I really agree with that too. And one of the things that I think I found out about myself is wherever you are right now in your career or in your friendships or your relationships, you are not limited to that value. And I'll explain it like this: is that, let's say you're at a job right now that you really don't enjoy being at, and you only make a certain amount of money per year. A lot of people think, especially if you ask women, sometimes this question too when it comes to men, and vice versa. For men, think about it for women too, but they think that since they make X amount of dollars per year, that equals their value. And that goes for both ways, where if you make north of $1 million, you make 20, $30 million, or $10,000 in a year, that's all that they have in their value. And I've come to terms with that too. Like, that is not the case at all. And I always say it's not about where you're from, it's about where you're going.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Vaughn, have you ever, fell into that trap where, you had those limiting beliefs about yourself?
Oh yeah, and now that we doing the show on relationships, most of it came from my past relationships, like with women.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of the times when it didn't go well and it went awry, I always blame myself for it, not
Mm-hmm.
knowing exactly why, not dissecting the situation. Like I said earlier in the first question you asked me, it's like sitting back and digesting the situation, and actually looking at everything for what it was, and figuring out what actually went wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Before I would just assume the worst and think it was me. It's my fault. Why didn't I do this? I should have did more, even though I was doing the most that I could do.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like, especially with relationships, romantic relationships, they can get a little tricky, because let's just say that you have somebody, and I'm gonna be honest, you may think that the sex is really good and that you can ignore all the other red flags that might be going on in the relationship. And you really have to take things, like you said, from a 360-degree angle, and you can't just look at one aspect. Now, when it comes to, severing these relationships, and it can be romantic or it can just be friendships, do you have any pieces of advice to anybody watching that may be going through a relationship that they want to cut off, but they don't know how to do it?
Well, depending on what kind of relationship it is, if it's like a romantic type of relationship, you just basically, but I don't know what type of person you're dealing with. Is better to understand what type of person that you're dealing with, because some people are a little bit more, you know, I don't want to use the word, but you know what this means. They're a little bit more out there. I would just
Mhm.
say out there, because we want to keep it positive. I'm gonna just say out there. So like with those people, you kind of got to be careful. Like you can't do nothing in public or anything like that. Everything has to be private. You can't embarrass them in any type of way, because then they'll take it to the next level, and then it'll cause issues for you and whoever else that you care about in some instances. So you just have to be careful on how you approach them, and make sure you do it the way based off of their personality. Because if you don't do it based off of their personality, it can turn red real fast.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like a lot of people, they only think about, and I literally learned this lesson yesterday. Like I said, I was with Oracle going to film, and we were talking about, relationships. And I was coming from the perspective that you have to put yourself first, right?
Mhm.
And 100%, that's what you need to do all the time. But she also countered my point with a point that you just brought up right now: is you have to learn with how you're dealing with other people. And another thing is, you always should leave people better than how you found them. And I know that may be hard, because when I was thinking about it, I was like, oh, well, it's not my responsibility to help other people digest the information and make sure that, they're in good spirits and everything like that. But, I just thought about it. It took a little bit, but I was like, if everybody were to throw in that positive energy and help build other people around them to let them down in a specific way, it would really make the world a better place. Now, Vaughn, there's two pieces of advice that I want to give to everybody when it comes about red flags, and I want to know what your opinion is too. So, let's say in a romantic relationship, I firmly believe that red flags always, always, always identify themselves very early on in the beginning, but we kind of make we kind of just substitute, or we kind of just say, well, I'm just going to ignore that and I'm just going to focus on this. And let's just talk about, business relationships too. You should look at how, in a romantic relationship, one, you should look at how the other person treats their family. I'm going to give you that golden nugget. And then another one for the business relationships is you should look at how, let's say you're talking to the boss, you should look at how he treats, the lower end employees, like the janitor or, the person that just started working there. Those are going to be the two pieces of advice that I give for you guys watching. But Vaughn, when it comes to red flags, what like when a red flag is presented to you, what are some of the things that you tell yourself, or what are some of the things that you try to do to make sure that you honor those and say, well, this person might not be in my best interest?
But in the life in the world that we live in today, right? A lot of things are based off of lustful thoughts and reactionary actions, basically, is what I want to say. So when you see something and you like it, you want it in your mind, you think that is something that's great for you, it looks good for you, and everybody else around you views you differently because of that. So you want to keep that just so you can have them view you that way. But that's what causes problems in the end, because that's not really what you want. Because that person, when they start showing red flags, what they do is what we do is, when people show us red flags, we tend to think we can fix things. Like, some people only think that's what women do, but men, we have that part of us as well that likes to fix things. Like, we like, oh, that's not really that bad, I could probably fix that because I'm me. And you think because you're you can change them, when actually that's not how this works.
And I feel like, exactly what you said, you hit it right on the head. We think that, if it happens to everybody else, but when it comes to us, it won't ever happen to us. And that was another lesson that, like I said, there's so many things that, I've learned just in this year alone. But, that's very important. I want to touch on that, is how just because somebody, all right, let's say you have a significant other in whatever capacity you want to call it. If they're treating everybody else in a certain dynamic, you have to really understand that they're probably doing the same thing about you behind your back. So if you have a friend that always comes to you and is always talking, crap about other people, what makes you think that they're not going to do that to you in return? And I feel like when it comes to severing certain relationships, you have to see how they treat other people, because I can guarantee you that's how they're treating you, whether it's to your face or behind your back as well. Now, can you talk about some of the do's that we should do in relationships in order to, let's flip it and talk about the healthy side of relationships. How many healthy relationships have you experienced in your life, and how do you tend to keep them around?
Well, you talking about relationships as far as like romantic, or relationships period?
Hey, just in any capacity. It can be business, romantic. Just think about some of the best relationships that you've had, or just, energy exchange. Let's just call it that.
Okay, yeah. So I have a friend. He moved to North Carolina. He's like, me and him went to school together, but we wasn't really close to school. We had a few classes together. He's the same age as me, but he graduated a year before me. So like one day, somehow, some way, we wind up working together at Taco Bell or whatever, the one in Cherry Hill. And like, he rapped, and he was like, yeah, listen to my music. I want you to listen. I need some. And then I'm like, okay, I'll listen to it. And then he came to me and was like, yo, I see how you move, like you were saying earlier, how you sit back and you watch and you see what's going on with the person. So he sat back and watched. He seen how I worked. He seen how I led, because I was his manager at the time. He seen how I led, and he liked everything about me and everything I did, how I handled the employees and how I handled everything as far as the work related aspect was. So he came to me and was like, yo, I need somebody to help me do do this, do X, Y, and Z. I was wondering if you'd be interested. So I wind up like, I was sitting back, like I told him, I was like, let me give me some time. I'll think about it, and then we can go over some things or whatever. So I kept constantly telling him, yeah, just send me a song, send me some music. And then I'm noticing like the growth in his music. And I'm like, okay, so he's ascending. So it's like, you can see the progress that he's making. So it's like, you know what? I can see that he's constantly trying to elevate. So I told him, I was like, I'll definitely get on with you and see where this goes.
Yeah, and I can tell, a lot of people, they don't really see that growth in themselves, and it takes a special type of person. That's why I think relationships are important, because when you have people that are on the outside that can see through the smoke and mirrors that may be going on within yourself, and they're like, yo, you're actually doing X, Y, and Z right, but the person internally might be beating themselves up. That's why it's so great to have these people that surround you that are always supporting you and making sure that you're elevating to that next point. And, literally this happened last night, and I'm just bringing so many things back to my real life experience, because now,
it all correlates.
Yeah.
It all correlates.
Yeah. And I never really sat down to really analyze it, but now it just makes so much sense. I had two people call me yesterday, right at night, and it was back to back. And they called me with great news. And I sat about it and I thought about it, and I had a third conversation too. And when I was talking about the person, with the third conversation, they said, you know what? Isn't it so amazing that people come to you when they have great news instead of people always coming to you when they have something negative to say? And, I think, and I know it's because you have to establish boundaries, with people in the relationships. Now, Vaughn, how easy or how difficult is it to establish boundaries when meeting new people?
Well, when it comes to people, like, it's easier. It's so much easier when you work with them. Like, it's so much easier then to get to know people. But starting a conversation out of thin air and everything without them believing you have some type of agenda or whatever, it's a little bit difficult. But it's I want to say yeah. When you starting relationships with people, you wanna make sure you always keep it as real as possible with those people. Like, some people might not like it that way, but they might be the people that you don't need around you. Or like because you gotta keep it the way you want it to be brought back to you. But we don't have the understanding as people that we're all going to be used at some point in time in our life, because that's what other people, they attach to us for certain reasons, and we like other people for certain reasons. So if you don't come to the grips with the fact that you're going to be used to some capacity, it's not a negative thing. It's more so a thing. Those people love your energy or your passion or whatever, and then they come and they go to you for that reason. And when that happens, that's how you build relationships with people. But the one thing that you don't want to do when it comes to building relationships with people is everybody has their own section that they belong in. Like, you might have one friend that you can go on vacations with, or a group of friends that you go on vacation with. It's some that you go to the club with, but you can't take them on vacation with you, because the people that you may take to the club, they might be a little loose, or they might do something that can get you in trouble on vacation. When you're home, that might be okay. But when you're on vacation, let's say you're in Guatemala or something like that, and then something happens to where as though you're in jail in Guatemala, you don't want that to happen. So you got to make sure that you put the people that you deal with in their proper place, and you notice what place they belong in immediately, because if not, it could be detrimental to you.
Definitely, 100%. And I just want to talk about a point that you just said, going back to it. And, it's kind of like the point where people don't understand that if you're a high valued man or woman, or, anything that you think that you are, because, there's genders and all that stuff. But when you're a person that has a lot of value, right? And you think that people are only using you for one objective and then they want to get rid of you, that might be a scarcity mindset. And I'll explain the perfect example, I believe is the perfect example. Let's say you have a friend who's, very well off and they have a lot of connections, right? And this person, is super connected, and you try to reach out, and say, hey, listen, friend, I know you know somebody that's where I want to be, and I need you to reach out for them for me, just so I can get maybe some information, or maybe let's just say, they need to listen to my music, or whatever the case may be. A lot of people kind of have that scarcity mindset where they're like, well, I'm not going to introduce you to this person, because then if you blow up, I see you have a lot of value. And then if you become more famous than me or get more money than me, then they're like, well, I don't want that to happen. So then they just don't even do it for themselves. But you might be that person that people see a lot of value in you. So there's nothing wrong with helping the next person going forward in whatever capacity they want to be. And I think if you are holding back and you're not helping the next person forward, then that's kind of a scarcity mindset, and I feel like a lot of people start to do that, whether they realize it or not. Now, Vaughn, especially, people in the hood, and, we kind of had to, work on these mindsets. People that grow up in inner cities, or it doesn't even, let me not limit it to inner cities. It could even be people that are, well off, and like I just said, have that connections. What are some of the ways or some of the practices that you use in order to fight this scarcity mindset?
Well, I always, like I said in the with the previous question, you have to understand who you are.
Mhm,
If you don't understand who you are, you're always going to be afraid of what somebody else can be.
mhm,
Because if you know who you are, you already know there's going to be nobody better at being you than you. So you
mhm,
have to remember that.
mhm,
And other people, you want them to be the best at being them, because a lot of people think, like you said earlier, a lot of people base things off of money and material possession. But in reality, it's not really about material possession. It's about what you possess here and what you possess here. If you
mhm.
don't possess nothing here or nothing here, that material stuff is going to be nothing. You're still going to be miserable. You're still going to be miserable.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. And a lot of people think that just to use it as an example, that there might be somebody that's doing illegal things, or they might be getting their money a certain type of way. But just because, like you said, they have that money doesn't necessarily mean that they're happy. They might be looking over their shoulder every 5 seconds. They might be,
They have to.
paranoid, or, they might have health issues, or there's just so many other things. But I want to take all of this back through all the conversations that we just had on the show,
Mhm.
just to really emphasize the point that you need to focus on yourself, right? That's first and foremost.
Mhm.
I firmly believe that everything that happens around you inside of your external world and your outside reality has formed because of thought processes and patterns that has happened inside on your inner mind as well. And for
Right.
me, I can give you guys some examples. I use, positive affirmations. I surround myself with healthy relationships. I meditate. I
Mhm.
read. There's so many things that I do to work on myself to make sure that the outer world is reflecting that. Now, Vaughn, can you talk about some of the practices that you do in order to make sure that everything that happens on the external is great because of your work that you do on the internal?
Well, internally, basically what I do internally is, like, when I got to the point where my daughter was born, I'll say 24, is when I started to really view things differently,
Mhm,
because I have a child. Now, when you get a child, a lot of people go into this panic stage where they like, oh my God, I'm having a child. I don't know how I'm going to be able to do this. But with me, it got me into a more like focused type of like vibe. So whereas though, like, I started to view everything differently, like all the layers of everything. So that way it made everything like look different on the surface to me.
mhm,
But I meditate, I definitely do that. I listen to like nature music. Like, you know how they'll have the music playing, like in let's say like in a massage parlor or a massage therapist, they'll have the music playing. I like incense candles, I love candles, and a lot of like breathing techniques, like just sitting there just breathing. Like your breathing is one of the most important things to you that people don't know about. People don't know that the way we breathe now is so wrong. It's
mhm.
so wrong. The way we breathe fast, we're supposed to breathe in. That's why every time you're panicking, you start to breathe faster. But when you slow down your breathing, everything calms down.
Mm-hmm.
So once you learn to slow down, then everything else around you starts to slow down.
Mm-hmm. Now, how did you discover that? Because people don't know about breathing techniques. 100%, I agree. Thank you, Jamie Lane. Jamie Lane, you got to fix that, because I saw it on another show, Lauren's show, that it said the same thing. Facebook user. I hope you're not in Facebook jail, but Vaughn knows about that too as well.
That's what it looked like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Vaughn, like I said, people don't know about breathing techniques, and I'm not gonna sit here and claim I'm an expert. I know about certain breathing techniques, but not all of them. How did you discover it, and how did it change your life?
Well, basically, I found it out via going to massage therapy school.
Mm-hmm.
I went to school massage therapy at Harris School of Business, and what happened was I was working full time. I just lost my license, so I wasn't driving. So I was going back and forth from work. I worked in Delran, went to school in Cherry Hill. So I would work till like 3 o'clock in the morning. I would go to sleep at work for an hour, then catch the bus to go to school. But in the midst of all that, when I went to school, I was always like drained, like tired. I was always tired. So we started doing yoga first. Like yoga was like the thing in the morning because they wanted me to wake up. Like when you do yoga, it wakes you up. It kind of brings you back. I didn't know that until like stretching is a great thing for you. Like when you wake up in the morning, if you wake up, stretch for about 15, 20 minutes, the rest of your day is going to be way smoother than it would be if you just got up and brushed your teeth and just went on about your business. But so after that, one day, she was like, we're going to meditate. One of the teachers was like, we're going to meditate today. We're not going to do too much work. We're just going to sit back and meditate. We're going to take like a light day, and then we're going to do some massage after, because this was like in clinicals, right? So me being who I am, I'm being big-headed at the time. I'm like, meditate for what? What are you talking about? Meditating. But during the process of doing yoga, you have to breathe a certain way in order for the stretches to work properly. So when we get down, and she said, everybody sit down. We sit down. I'm sitting on the massage table with my legs hanging off the table. I'm sitting on the massage table. Some people on the floor, some people laying down. I said, you know what? I'm gonna just give this a try. I'm gonna close my eyes, whatever. I'm like, this BS, this bull crap, whatever. So I closed my eyes, and she's like, just breathe like you would if you were doing yoga. Breathe in slowly, breathe in for 6 seconds, breathe out for 6 seconds. Okay, cool. So I'm doing that. I probably get to about the third breath, and I'm completely out. I don't know how long I was out. I wasn't asleep because I could still feel everything going on around me, but I was like out of it. Like I was out of it. Then she snapped her fingers like, okay, guys. And then it was like my soul jumped back inside of me. And then after that, I was like, this is real. Like, this is not a joke. I thought this was fairy tale, but this is real. That was one of those aha wow moments for me.
And yeah, I agree. Because, when I first found out about meditation too, the first night that I actually did it, it didn't work. And then I actually had nightmares that same night. So I was like, yo, I'm never doing this again. I don't know how people can do this. They've been doing it for centuries. And then the second and third time I did it, I was like, yo, this stuff is the truth. Now, Vaughn, we got to play 2 commercials. This is a word from our sponsors. And when we come back, I want to talk about why meditation and self-care isn't really taught about in, inner city kids or, things like that. So that's just going to be the gist of it. So don't go anywhere. If you want to hear about business thoughts, Vaughn's thoughts, I'm going to call you Vaughn. Vaughn's thoughts, my thoughts, the Positivity Posse thoughts. Make sure you comment your thoughts as well. Don't go anywhere. And we'll be right back. A word from our sponsors. This episode is absolutely flying by, so I only just wanted to play one for one word from the sponsors. Thank you for the sponsors. Just because we only have a few minutes left, and I think this episode is just flying, absolutely flying by. Now, Vaughn, why is it that you believe that, if you even believe it, which I believe it, and I know you do too, so I'm going to ask it anyway. Why do you believe, meditation or breathing techniques or, proper diet and things along those lines? How come they're not talked about in inner cities at all?
Because in the society that we live in today, they want everybody to be separated and everybody to not like or hate or dislike certain people for whatever reason, and that's what's pushed. Positivity is not really pushed because if everybody's positive, the people that's up top that run the world, they wouldn't have the effect that they have. They wouldn't be able to make the money that they make. They wouldn't be able to get that revenue. So they leech off of us. So if we're going to keep allowing them to leech off of us, there's no point of them allowing us to be taught certain things because it's not going to be beneficial for them. So that's why they don't teach this type of stuff to inner city kids or nobody in general. That's why, like you said earlier, you have to read, you have to question things, you have to dig in, because if you don't, they're going to just allow you to stay dormant where you are. There's nobody going to come out and put a hand out for you, especially nobody from up top, because they want to stay sitting where they're sitting and they want to keep us where we are. And if we're where we are, which is at the bottom, the plateau level, they're going to keep going up because everything goes up in price and never goes down. The only thing that stays down is the people that want to stay down.
Yeah, 100% too. And I feel like we kind of shoot ourselves in the foot by not reading, by, going through the 9 to 5 and not really making a career or doing what we want to do and not caring about the money, because
that's most important, doing what you want to do. Yes.
Yeah, and I agree with that 100% because like I said, I was going to school and I absolutely hated it. And, I was fortunate enough to have a great support system. So Vaughn, when it comes to following your heart and doing the things that you want to do, I know that you do that all the time, because we just talked about it in the green room before the show. Is actually the question is, what's your ultimate goal? Can you share everybody what your ultimate goal is?
My ultimate goal is self-freedom. That's my ultimate goal. My ultimate goal is to be free, like myself, to be free, free from thought of judgment, free from thought of ridicule, free from thought of, because a lot of these things aren't important, but we allow these things to be important to us when really they are not, because their opinion is what they're going to turn you into if you listen to that. You want to be who you are, because it doesn't matter who is saying what. It's always going to be somebody steering you in the wrong direction of than the direct position to go towards yourself. Because if you try to please everybody, if you try to please one person, you're going to try to please everybody. If you try to please everybody, you conjure up a whole bunch of people that's not you, and then in the end, you wind up lost.
Yeah, and then a lot of people can't really recover from that loss, because then it starts to take them down that downward spiral, and then
it deteriorates you.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna touch on this really quick. It says self-freedom. I love it. How can we achieve that? And Vaughn, I'm gonna give you a chance to answer this, but my take on this is that it depends, really. Because what Vaughn considers to be self-freedom may not be that for everybody. And I was actually surprised, Vaughn. Not really surprised, but because, I know how you think. But, a lot of people might say, oh, I want to have, financial freedom, because that is included in self-freedom, or they say, I don't want to live to anybody else's expectations. Now, when it comes to monetary and physical items, how did you come to terms to see that all of that stuff really doesn't matter, and that it's all about satisfying your soul, really?
When you look around the landscape and you watch what's going on in the world, you see what everyone's wearing. Where you're from, you see what people are wearing. Where other people are from, you see how people dress at fashion shows. You see what they look like in Hollywood, the stuff they wear in Hollywood. Everybody wears whatever they want to wear based off of what? A lot of them wear things based off of what they see.
Mm-hmm.
and they don't do it based off of what they feel.
Mm-hmm.
If I buy something, it's not because it's from, I can't wear nothing from Foreign Mills, or I can't get nothing from Ross, or I can't get nothing from here. Oh, they think you got to get it from Gucci, Prada, and all this other weirdness. It's like, you don't have to do that. What I realize is I'm going to get what I get for me. I'm not worried about how much it costs, but I'm not going to go out my way to spend extra money on things that aren't really going to do anything for me. That's putting on a show for someone else.
Mm-hmm.
When I buy something, I buy it because I like it, and I feel as though I don't have to give up a kidney in order to have that. That's something that's tangible.
Mm-hmm.
Some people will lose their home, their car, their family, their girlfriend over a Gucci shirt or a Gucci belt or something like that, which makes no sense to me at all. But when you're not living for yourself, you're living for everybody else. And when you don't stand for something, you fall for anything, and that's what happens.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like, especially there's 2 points that I want to make. Number one, I was watching this video earlier, and it was this guy. I don't know why I was watching it, because I usually like to look at positive things, but I guess this one must have slipped through the cracks. But there was somebody having an argument, and there were two cars, and the person was inside the car and the other one was outside. And basically, the person was going to hit the guy's car, but what he did was he wedged himself in between the two cars, and he ended up just getting squished, like, not violently, but it was soft that, he just ended up getting squished between the cars. And I'm thinking to myself, why would anybody jump in front of a car in order to protect it? Like, it's just an object. It's just an item. You can get that stuff fixed.
Mm-hmm.
And then number two is, especially with, all right, I'm going to be honest. I see this a lot within the minority community where, parents buy their kids, Jordans and Gucci and bags at such a young age. And what happens to it? They grow out of it. And then it was like, what'd you spend that money for? It was all for nonsense. It's exactly like what you said. Now, Vaughn, if how can you help people? What advice do you have to give to them to help them understand that, material items aren't everything?
Like Danny said, when it comes to like buying material things, especially for kids, they're going to grow out of it. So you're going to have to keep buying the new iPhones and all this and all that. And it's going to do nothing for your child. It's not building no structure with your child or anyone. All it's doing is causing damage to their brain and everything else, and nothing in a positive way, because when they get older, the relationships that they're going to have with other people is going to be predicated off of what they were taught from their parents. Yeah. And that's never a good thing when you're feeding them a whole bunch of stuff that's not really tangible. So when their mind is tangible, because you fooled them to believe that. And then when they get older, they get in the mindset of, oh, well, if he or she can't do this for me, then I don't want it. And it's not really helping what's going on with your situation or anything in your family. So it's basically worthless.
100%, man. And, I 100%, I love that you said that too, because a lot of people don't think about the long-term effects. They'll buy them this right now. And then, when it comes to being older, let's just say, there's nothing wrong with spoiling your child. That's not what we're talking about at all. But you do have to, be smart about your decisions. And, right here, my mom, she wrote a book. Your child needs your presence more than they need your presence. 100%.
Right.
We got the flow going right now. And unfortunately, I'm not going to say unfortunately, but the episode is about to end in a few minutes. And Vaughn, as you already know, we always end the episode in the same manner. If there's somebody going through their deepest, darkest times right now, Vaughn, what advice would you have to give to these people to get them out of it?
Just remember that everything that you're going through right now is in your mind. You have to find a way to twist it some way, because in every situation, whether negative or positive, there's always positive. So there's really no negative. So you really have to dissect what's going on with you and why is it happening. Mm-hmm. And once you figure that out, you're going to understand that there's a positive message that's in there that you're not seeing, and you keep missing it. That's why things keep happening to you. So once you figure that out, you move on to the next step. This is not to say that nothing else bad is going to happen to you, but the bad things that happen in your life are lessons and blessings. Danny's going to like that one. And, and if you don't take those blessings and lessons and intake them, you're going to continuously be on a hamster wheel, and it's going to keep happening to you. So if you don't want to be on that hamster wheel, you have to find the positive in everything that's negative.
100%, man. And, like we said, everything's a lesson or a blessing. But I firmly believe that if something happens in your life and you don't decide to take that advice and actually apply it, you're going to run through the same issue over and over and over and over again to the day you die, until you actually take that lesson, take what was needed for it or a blessing. Then the next time that it comes into your life, you say, hey, I don't want this to happen to me, so I'm going to do the opposite thing. And that's how you level up, because I firmly believe it's like a game that life is, It's like once you unlock that level, then you get into the next level.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if anybody wants to reach out to Vaune just to talk to him, pick his brain, Vaune, thank you so much for coming on today. Facebook is Real Island Viz. Instagram is it a capital I and RI Viz?
It's just RI Viz. It's lowercase RI and then Viz.
All right, lowercase RI_Viz, and then on TikTok is also Viz Viral 28. And Vaune, thank you so much again, man, for coming on today. Like I said, this episode absolutely flew by. So
yes, it did.
Thank you for dropping your golden nuggets. And, if you want to come back on again, you just got to let me know.
Of course.
So we can talk about some more ideas of things that you got going on.
Yeah.
So if you guys, again, thank you so much for all of your support. Shout out to my Positivity Posse. You guys are absolutely amazing. I hope you guys go crush it this weekend and whatever you do. And let you guys know, please, again, if you haven't purchased your tickets for the Power of We, please go and do that ASAP rock, man, because it's going to be such an absolutely amazing experience. And when you go to do that, you're going to be supporting me as well, just because I'm going to be the co-MC on the main stage as well with Tracy Randolph. Here is the website to go and get your tickets. And like I said, it's going to be absolutely amazing. Here we go. Look, you're already blowing up the comments. We didn't even get finished yet. Vaune, you're amazing. You're full of so much wealth of knowledge. And like I said, thank you so much for coming on again, Vaune. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
Yeah, and I hope you guys have a great weekend. Always remember, like Vaune said, like I say, everything is a lesson or a blessing. So whatever happens to you, good or bad, positive or negative, make sure that you're finding the lessons and the blessings so that we can be the best version of ourselves and we can go up, 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 and ascend and experience all the great things that this life really has to offer for us. So like I said, guys, one more time, the Power of We Symposium, there's the website going on the bottom. The Power of We Symposium is going to be absolutely amazing. So I hope you guys really have a great weekend. And always remember, please, everything is a lesson or a blessing. So I'll see you guys next week. Well, wait. I guess I won't. That's what I wanted to say. I'll see you guys in 2 weeks because next week will be a replay. So hope everybody has a great weekend, and I'll see you guys in 2 weeks for another episode of Weekly Dose of Dano TV. Peace.